Okay, so give us the insight into Trump and where he is right now. He's doing a few really interesting things where he's going and meeting a bunch of striking auto workers. Now, again, the unions aren't going to back in Trump, but it's interesting to watch people play in so-called enemy territory, hence why Newsom going on Fox, really interesting. Trump going into not just the Rust Belt, but the front line of a Labor dispute. That's a sign of confidence because... you know that whoever's already with you is already with you, but you know you need to grow from where you were. What does that tell us about Trump's strategic thinking versus, say, media opportunism?
Tells me two things. Number one, despite everything that's been thrown at him, he's actually in remarkably ebullient mood. I mean, he really is an extraordinary bloke. And number two, what it says to me is he knows he has to win the Midwest. He's got to win Wisconsin, preferably winning Michigan as well. And that is your classic trade union, blue-collar working area of America. And you know what? Even though the union bosses may not back Trump, an awful lot of trade union members working in those factories worried about the extent to which American jobs have been outsourced to China, Mexico, and elsewhere. A lot of them will. So I think Trump is playing it absolutely right. One of the criticisms over the years is that perhaps he spent too much time speaking to his own faithful. He's now showing he's going out to reach out. And of course, as ever, it's that extra 3 or 4% beyond the Trump base. That's all he needs to win a majority. Yeah,
bloody oath again. That's just interesting. This is the guy who calls the play, can see it from a decade out. You're seeing what's happening here. Good to see. All right, so Rishi Sunak, we know, is starting to roll back on some of the promises and commitments about getting to net zero, most and principally trying to delay the ban on the combustion engine, the ability to continue to buy a car that's powered with petrol. But surprise, surprise, the left wing of his own flank, are trying to turn around and have a crack at him via august Tory publications like The Guardian.
Well, you know, we've got this wing of our Conservative Party who aren't even vaguely Conservative at all, and you will know with the Australian Liberal Party the type of human beings I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. They pretend to be one thing at elections, but they're quite another outside of it. Sunak has done the right thing. I mean, it's not often you've heard me say that on your show. He's done the right thing. The whole point about green taxes is they penalise and hurt the poorest in society for almost no net gain when it comes to carbon, because all we effectively do is we just outsource jobs in the same way that much of the American Midwest has done. There is all this talk that if the earth gets hotter, people will die. Well, I tell you what, in Northern Europe, on our mid-Atlantic island, if you haven't got proper heating in your home, you're more likely to die of cold. So I think Sunak has done the right thing. And by the way, since he made that announcement, they're still behind, but the Conservatives are up 5% in the polls. And that will encourage Sunak, I believe, to go further.
Yeah, I think people might be surprised about potentially how close it's going to be, but we'll see, and other factors that are around.